The massacre that lit the fuse. The twin sons of Kaelis IV bathed the colony's emerald forests and silver rivers in soft golden light. It was a quiet, idyllic world, a human frontier settlement far from the heart of the Terran Alliance. Children played in the grassy fields, their laughter echoing between low-built houses and skyward-reaching towers. No one saw the ships coming. The first warning came too late. Without ceremony, without negotiation, dozens of black metallic warships, bearing the cruel insignia of the Galactic Empire, descended from orbit. They blotted out the sky in seconds. Before the colony's early warning systems could react, plasma bombardments tore through the atmosphere, vaporizing entire neighborhoods. Schoolyards, playgrounds, hospitals. The Kaelis defense militia, under-equipped and undertrained, barely managed to scramble fighters before they too were burned from the sky. No message of surrender was accepted. No appeal for mercy heard. The Empire's invasion was not a conquest. It was an execution. Families huddled together inside homes that offered no protection. Children, confused and terrified, screamed as fire rained down from above. The air itself boiled, skies lit with the glow of burning bodies, metal, and trees alike. Within hours, the once thriving colony was nothing more than smoldering ash and glassed earth. The Empire broadcast the assault live across the galactic networks. Their chief military speaker, a cold-blooded reptilian admiral named Vorthan Zell, addressed the galaxy with smug satisfaction. The rebellion has been crushed. The human infestation on Kaelis IV has been purged. Let this stand as warning to all who defy the order of the Galactic Empire. The words echoed as visuals of dead children, burned cities, and blackened soil played across every news feed. The galaxy watched in horrified silence. Allies of humanity offered hollow condolences but did nothing. The so-called Galactic Council, a gathering of various species, issued meaningless sanctions. The powerful alien nations, fearing retaliation from the Empire, remained passive. The message was clear. Human lives were expendable. Human children were disposable. But not to General Evelyn Voss. Thousands of light years away, aboard the Terran Command Dreadnought Aegis, General Voss stood alone in the briefing hall. Her sharp military uniform was immaculate, her face carved from stone. On the holoscreen before her, the last images of Kaelis IV played on loop, a child no older than 7, running, screaming, before being engulfed in white plasma fire. Her fingers trembled. In her long military career, Evelyn Voss had seen entire worlds fall. She had commanded battles where millions died. But this was something else. It wasn't war. It was butchery. Behind her, officers whispered in hushed voices, waiting for orders. Some advocated restraint, others peace talks. The Terran Alliance had always been cautious, pragmatic, careful not to provoke the larger, older civilizations that ruled the stars. Voss remained silent. She closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw her own daughter, the one she lost years ago to an earlier war, her face overlapping with the faces of the children now lying cold beneath alien skies. Something ancient and primal stirred inside her, something that transcended politics or diplomacy. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of iron. Prepare the fleet. The room fell into stunned silence. One of her advisors, a young strategist, dared to speak. General, the Council hasn't approved military action. If we escalate, her voice cut through him like a blade. They burned children. They declared extermination, not war. We respond in kind. She turned to the communications console. In moments, her image appeared across human-controlled space and was carried beyond into neutral galactic channels. No emotion touched her face. Her steel-blue eyes burned with the cold fire of absolute conviction. Her words would be remembered for generations. To the Galactic Empire, she began, her tone measured, her voice steady. We saw your victory. We saw your slaughter. You took not just lives, but innocence. You killed the defenseless and called it justice. Know this, humanity will not forgive. Humanity will not forget. We declare total war. We declare extinction. There will be no mercy. There will be no treaties. There will be no empire when we are finished. The galaxy shuddered. The news spread like wildfire. For the first time in centuries, humanity declared not limited conflict, but outright genocide. A vow to eradicate not just the leadership, but the entire species of the Galactic Empire. And as the black fleets of Earth began to move, as shipyards ignited with furious production, and old weapons long sealed away were unearthed, General Evelyn Voss, the woman whose heart burned with grief and rage, became the face of humanity's darkest hour. The massacre of Kaelis IV had lit a fire that would not stop until the Empire itself was ash. The declaration of genocide. The council chambers of the Terran Alliance, once a beacon of diplomacy and restraint, had descended into chaos. Holographic displays projected the still-burning ruins of Kaelis IV. Faces of senators, admirals, and planetary leaders flickered with fear, outrage, and hesitation. Some demanded restraint. Others wept openly for the dead. A few suggested surrender, terrified of provoking the Galactic Empire further. At the heart of it all stood General Evelyn Voss, silent and unmoving, her hands clasped tightly behind her back. The grief she carried was buried deep beneath layers of iron discipline, but it simmered, boiling, relentless. Her turn to speak came. She stepped forward, her boots echoing in the marble chamber, her voice cold and sharp as a blade. This is not a conflict over borders. This is not about resources. This is about the systematic extermination of human life. The room stilled. All eyes turned to her. They slaughtered our children, she said, and they broadcast it. They declared victory not over soldiers, but over infants, over unarmed civilians, over innocence itself. A senator from Europa Station raised a trembling hand. General Voss, we understand the horror. But genocide? The total destruction of an entire species? That is not who we are. Her expression didn't change. It wasn't who we were, she corrected softly, but it is who they forced us to become. She tapped a control on her datapad. A new set of images filled the room. Empire war plans, recently decrypted by Terran intelligence. Files detailing further strikes on human colonies, bioweapon releases, and forced labor camps. Kaelis IV had not been an isolated act. It was merely the first blow in a campaign of extinction. The truth was undeniable. She let the silence hang before she spoke again, each word deliberate, each syllable heavy with finality. I hereby invoke Article Black 0 of the Terran Defense Charter, Voss announced. I'm assuming full military command. Effective immediately, the Terran Alliance is at war, not for conquest, but for survival. Not for territory, but for the eradication of the Galactic Empire in its entirety. Gasps, protests, shouts of disbelief. One diplomat stood. This is madness. We'll lose everything. Our principles, our souls. Voss turned her eyes on him. We already lost them. On Kaelis IV. The words cut through the air like a knife. No one spoke after that. The decision was made. Within hours, Operation Revenant, a military contingency plan long thought myth, was activated. Across the solar systems, Black Flag war fleets prepared for launch. Dormant shipyards lit up, factories switched to total war production, and terrifying weapons, many of them outlawed by galactic treaties, were pulled from deep storage. The military had only one standing order: no quarter, no surrender, no survival for the enemy. In the solitude of her flagship's command deck, General Voss stood before a wide viewport, watching as rows of Leviathan-class dreadnoughts powered up one by one. Thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. Humanity's wrath made manifest. The stars stretched out in cold silence. UNC. Humanity unleashed. The purge begins. The first strike came without warning. The Empire's border world, Varnak VI, was a thriving hub of trade, agriculture, and manufacturing. It had no heavy military presence. The Empire believed it safe, untouchable. At dawn, the sky split open. Without preamble, Terran stealth ships decloaked in low orbit. Moments later, kinetic kill vehicles, rods of tungsten the size of skyscrapers, fell from orbit at terminal velocity. They struck with the force of small nuclear blasts, flattening entire cities. Within 4 minutes, Varnak 6 ceased to exist. Its population, civilian and military alike, was reduced to ash. No transmissions escaped. No survivors were allowed. The planet's surface cracked and burned until it resembled the lifeless husks of ancient wars. Humanity had fired its opening shot. Across the Empire, panic spread. The Imperial High Command, still basking in the so-called victory over Kaelis IV, dismissed the attack at first as an isolated incident. They grossly underestimated how far humanity was willing to go. Within days, 3 more Empire colonies were annihilated with surgical precision. Some were wiped out by antimatter strikes, others by nanite plagues that liquefied infrastructure and flesh alike. The humans made no effort to spare civilians. There were no negotiations, no demands, no ultimatums. Only a grim and total silence, followed by planetary death. The galaxy, watching from afar, trembled. At the center of this relentless purge was General Evelyn Voss, the architect of extinction. From the command deck of her flagship, the TSV Revenant, she conducted the campaign with ruthless efficiency. Each planet targeted was selected for its connection to the Kaelis massacre, either supply chains, political support, or complicit industries. Voss refused to draw a line between soldier and civilian. In her mind, the moment the Empire burned children, every last one of them became combatants. Her top commanders, many of them decorated veterans, began to show cracks. In one closed-door meeting, Admiral Pierce, a loyal subordinate, hesitated. "General," he said quietly, "the last strike, there were reports millions of unarmed civilians. Entire families. Hatcheries. We're killing everyone." Voss's gaze remained cold, unblinking. "And how many children burned on Kaelis IV?" she asked softly. Pierce's throat tightened. "That doesn't make this right." Her voice dropped to a whisper, haunted, hollow. "There is no right. There's only survival. If we leave one root alive, they will return. And next time, it won't be Kaelis. It will be Earth." The room fell silent. The order stood. The psychological warfare was as devastating as the physical. Human operatives broadcast distorted images of Kaelis IV onto Empire planetary networks moments before their annihilation. Every Empire citizen saw the burned faces of human children, flashed in brutal loops, just as the orbital bombardments began. The message was simple. Remember what you did. This is the consequence. Empire fleets, once feared across the stars, crumbled in terror and disarray. Some mutinied. Others abandoned their posts entirely. The realization dawned too late. Humanity wasn't fighting to win. Humanity was fighting to erase. Non-aligned alien civilizations watched in stunned horror. Some tried to intervene diplomatically, but their envoys were ignored or destroyed. Others quietly supported the humans, terrified that the same fate might one day come for them. In just 3 weeks, 11 Empire worlds fell. For billion dead, the Empire's homeworld, Zarak Prime, shivered under the knowledge that they would not be spared. But as the killing escalated, so did the unease within Voss's own heart. Alone in her quarters, she sat in the dim glow of a single holoscreen. It displayed a child's drawing, recovered from the ruins of Kaelis IV. A stick-figure family, a son, a small house. The kind of innocent scrawl that existed on every world in every corner of the galaxy. Her iron control wavered for the first time. She whispered aloud, her voice breaking. "I don't even remember my daughter's face anymore." Her hands shook. Her eyes burned. But when the next battle report came, another Empire fleet detected near the Theta Nebula, she rose, donned her uniform, and buried the last of her humanity beneath the cold armor of duty. The war was no longer about justice. It was no longer about Kaelis IV. It was about obliteration. And General Evelyn Voss, the woman who once wept for lost children, was now the harbinger of a new terror. The unstoppable force of a species that, when wounded, would not stop until its enemies were nothing but dust and memory. The purge had truly begun. Ashes of victory. The stars over Zarak Prime, the heart of the Galactic Empire, were red with fire. From orbit, the once proud Empire homeworld looked like a broken jewel. Cities reduced to molten scars, oceans boiled away, entire continents shattered by kinetic strikes. The sky itself was choked with debris and ash, lit by the dying glow of burning atmosphere. Humanity had done it. The Empire was dead. The final campaign, led personally by General Evelyn Voss, had unfolded with cold precision. Empire defenses, once feared across the galaxy, crumbled under the relentless assault of Earth's Black Flag fleets. Each step of resistance was met with total annihilation. Cities, military complexes, civilian centers. No quarter given, no mercy shown. The last of the imperial royal family, those who ordered the massacre of Kaelis IV, were executed live. Their pleas for mercy were broadcast back to Earth and the wider galaxy. There were no pardons, no negotiations. Extinction meant extinction. The war was over, and yet there was no victory. Inside the shattered ruins of Zarak's capital, General Voss walked alone. Her command armor was caked in ash. The air reeked of burned flesh and melted stone. Around her, her soldiers moved like ghosts, silent, empty, shattered. The face of every survivor bore the same hollow expression. They had won, but they had lost themselves. Voss came to a halt before what had once been a public square. In the rubble, her eyes caught something small, half buried in the soot and glass. She bent down and lifted it. A child's toy, a simple carved figure, scorched, broken. For a long time, she stood there motionless, the wind howling through the lifeless streets. In her mind, the screams of Kaelis IV still echoed, but now they were joined by new screams. Alien voices, innocent ones. Her breath caught, her iron facade cracked, and for the first time in years, General Evelyn Voss wept. Her fleet commanders awaited her orders. The last few Empire worlds, small, backwater planets, remained. Some argued they should be cleansed to the last. Others, shattered by the scale of destruction, pleaded for the genocide to end. Voss gave no immediate command. In the quiet of her flagship's observation deck, she stared out at the burning remnants of a civilization she had erased. The galaxy beyond stretched vast and uncaring. Stars pulsed, indifferent to the hatred of mortals. Her closest advisor, Commander Donovan, stepped forward cautiously. "General," he said softly, "the war is over. We need to decide, do we finish it, or do we stop?" Her voice, when it came, was barely above a whisper. "We already finished it." She turned to him, her face pale, her eyes hollow. "It was finished the moment we became them." The news spread swiftly. The Terran Alliance, shocked by the scale of the genocide, stripped Voss of command within weeks. War crime tribunals were whispered about, but quietly buried. Too many hands were bloodied. Too many powerful men and women had authorized the campaign. The cost of accountability was deemed too high. Voss accepted her dismissal without protest. She refused all medals, refused all honors. She simply disappeared. Months later, beneath the soft dawn sky of Earth's memorial gardens, Evelyn Voss stood alone. The names of the lost, etched in silver, covered the endless black walls. Her gloved fingers brushed across the name of Kaelis IV. Below it, the names of the 1.2 million children who perished that day. Her tears came silently. In her hand, she still held the scorched child's toy from Zarak Prime, a small, broken thing, the last relic of the species she had erased. A voice, a child's laughter, echoed in her mind. A memory that wasn't hers. Or perhaps it was. She no longer knew. Around her, life continued. People walked. Birds sang. Children, real children, laughed and played. The galaxy was safe. The Galactic Empire was gone. But something deeper had died along the way. Something that could never be recovered. Her final whispered words drifted into the wind. "We saved ourselves, but we became something else. And the stars, they will remember." Thus ended the war. A war without victors. A war without heroes. a war that left behind only ashes and ghosts.